I've got a huge twist for you today that's going to leave you more stunned than the first time you watched Fight Club. Last night I posted a video going over some more fraudulent strikes, which is becoming a huge issue that's plaguing the entire platform. It's an epidemic sweeping through. The first one was from the Manny Show. It's their second fraudulent strike that they've issued because their feelings get hurt. This one was automatically declined, which no doubt left Manny screaming into a pillow, kicking their feet in the air, wondering why no one likes them. The second strike I covered was one that was not declined, it fully went through, and it came from SSSniperWolf. Or was it? Was it all just a ploy from the deep state to have us eating out of the palm of their hands as the New World Illuminati shadow government actually worked behind the scenes to frame SSniperWolf and she wasn't actually involved? Well, maybe not to that scale, but from all of the evidence I've seen now, it actually wasn't SSniperWolf who filed that strike, and it's a very complicated mess that highlights a very, very rare problem on YouTube that I very much would like to talk about. But let's go through the entire lore real quick. So, the story starts with a big YouTube channel named One Giant Onion talking about a strike they received in their channel for the video they made on SSniperWolf. He posted a 3-hour video that was all just a big joke. But it did use all of her content. Well, I don't think like all of it. It's not like he went through the entire Library of Alexandria here, gathering every single SSniperWolf video, but it used 3 hours worth. And it resulted in him getting a strike many months later. He went trick-or-treating and he got a fucking razor blade laced apple. So the strike is a huge deal. He posts this video kind of going over it and talking about the situation briefly, and the video stays up for 9 days. This isn't a small, obscure channel. This is a channel with almost 1 million subscribers, so a lot of people make some noise about this, wondering why SSniperWolf is bullying channels that are making fun of her. And she never responded to it or anything. I eventually caught wind of this, and I talked about it in the video I made last night about fraudulent strikes. It's the second video I made in like a week on it because it keeps happening. Now, after I posted that video, SSniperWolf went on Twitter to claim that she never issued that strike at all. Which got me scratching at the hairs on my chinny chin chin, because it's exceptionally rare for someone to be able to successfully file a strike on behalf of someone else if they're not an agency. For all the shit that I and many others give YouTube to their automated system when it comes to strikes, they're actually pretty decent when it comes to fucking putting the wood on impersonator strikes. If someone is trying to claim your work and they're not associated with any reputable agency, or it's not actually someone associated with you, the strike is normally automatically declined. And what that means is basically what happened to Tech Lead and Manny Show for their most recent strike attempts, where YouTube says, hey, this is a load of dirty barnacles, we're not taking action, we just want to make you aware of it. That's what happens usually when someone tries to strike while not actually being the person associated with the content. Now, I can only think of 2 cases where an impersonator strike actually did go through, and one of them was with the Destiny 2 community a couple years ago, where a disgruntled gamer, a Destiny 2 enthusiast, went on this fucking rampage on YouTube striking innocent creators' works, and he filed all of them as if he was the official Bungie organization. He pretended to be the real Bungie, which ended up being a huge reputational hit to Bungie themselves, because people all thought it was Bungie. But really, it was just some goober LARPing as Bungie. He put on the suit and tie, tightened it up, and said, "It's time to go to work. I'm miserable, and I want to watch it all burn." So, that's what he tried to do, false flagging a ton of channels. Eventually, the sheriff on the block, Big Boy Bungie themselves, stepped in and fucked his face. They said cowabunga dude, and they let loose the legal dogs on him. It's something that is taken very seriously when you impersonate someone and strike others. It's illegal. You can't do that, which is why you don't see it very often. So, the other example, by the way, was Nintendo. It's happened with Nintendo in the past as well, though I can't remember what happened to the culprit in that case. So, some of you might remember from 2018, which I know is archaic at this point, that's fucking prehistoric by internet years, but in 2018, Alinity had that big meme about, we should copyright PewDiePie, should we copyright PewDiePie, whatever, where she was going to copyright strike PewDiePie because he was insulting her, and she was working with an agency called Collab DRM, who does strike on behalf of creators. Fast forward to 2024, there's plenty of agencies just like Collab DRM that do this, that do strikes on behalf of creators in order to take down re-uploads or sometimes just bully others into not talking about something they don't want posted. It is a common practice in the industry. So I decided to really stick my nose into this pile of dog shit and get a huge whiff of the stink here, that odorous Methodist that every YouTuber is familiar with, the copyright strike system. I reached out to One Giant Onion to just send me all of the info about the strike, which he was more than willing to do, so I appreciate that. I'm not going to post a screenshot because they're not mine to post. That's up to One Giant Onion if he wants to talk deeper about it and show those. I'll just talk about what was there. So, the copyright strike was filed by an individual who claims to be representing an agency, a collaborative agency, that works with SSSniperWolf. So they were successfully able to file the strike based on the information that they are with this agency that represents SSSniperWolf, thus they have the right to enforce her copyright. This is a pretty common thing, like I mentioned. There are tons of scumbag vermin that do this, these corporate suits that take this action, and many agencies that make this a core part of their strategy. However, what's definitely not a core part of their strategy is having the agents that are filing these takedown requests and strikes use a fucking personal Gmail account. So that's where things immediately became very clear to me that this is probably straight up horseradish. The email account was someone's personal Gmail. They weren't using a company account. It was not a professional email. It was just random Joe Blow's Gmail account that they're probably subscribed to browsers through. And that is uncommon. Typically, when a strike is filed from a fucking agency, you'll see the email be from that agency. This was not the case in One Giant Onion's strike here. I was pretty sure after looking even deeper into the email that this was all a scam, a ruse. But I have no fucking clue what the motive would be for this. Since they didn't claim the video, they're not making the money from it. There's a scam through Spotify where some people will post audio and then copyright claim YouTubers that use that audio, even though it's just common sounds like Super Mario making a sound effect like wahoo, something like that. Common sound effects. You'll have people on Spotify upload that audio and then claim YouTubers to make the money from the videos they use, including that. Like, the motive there is clearly to make money through this scam. In this case, this fraudulent strike, this blatant abuse of the YouTube system, it seems like there's just nothing to gain. They took down the video, thus they're not making money from it. Like the only thing they gain is making SSSniperWolf look evil. So maybe it's something personal there? I have no clue. But I reached out to SSSniperWolf directly about this just to 100% confirm whether or not this agency represents her. I also could find no official mention of this agency ever working with SSSniperWolf, so I feel like any agency that would have a creator as large as her would be plastering that all over their marketing material. So this definitely seems like someone pretending to work at that agency and then filing this strike. But I reached out directly to SSSniperWolf just to 100% confirm whether or not she's associated with this group. She confirms she does not work with them at all, and even goes as far as to mention that this group has targeted her channel in the past as well. I also asked if she would be taking any action against them for the impersonation strikes, since it is illegal, and we have already seen a legal case from this with Bungie, as well as YouTube themselves doing this. I mention this all the time. YouTube dunked on a false flagger back in like 2019. They fucking ruined them, annihilated them, fucking eviscerated them for this kind of dog shit. So I asked if SSSniperWolf would be trying to take action. She talks about how they're a foreign company, so it's pretty hard. And she's right. Since it is a foreign entity, her options are kind of limited there. So it's going to really be up to YouTube to solve this issue. Apparently this group has done this multiple times in the past, and now they've just done it again. So it looks like the only option to save the day is going to be sending up the bat signal and hoping YouTube will put on the cape and shut this group down, and maybe they will pursue something legally against them, because this is an issue that is spiraling out of control now. YouTubers abusing the copyright system we've seen multiple times now, Tech Lead and The Manny Show, as well as a couple others in the past. And now SSSniperWolf being framed for being one by a completely separate third party that has no association with her, that's a huge problem. If impersonator strikes are going to start to go through, that's going to lead to complete fucking pandemonium. So this needs to be stopped ASAP, and this needs to be made an example out of on YouTube's end, I feel. So apologies to SSSniperWolf. I'm sorry for the big headache that this must have caused when she didn't do it. she wasn't the one that issued the strike. So yeah, big update to this story here, and hopefully a happy ending with YouTube getting that strike taken off of One Giant Onion's channel, as well as preventing that group from doing this kind of shit in the future. And maybe this is pie in the sky, like maybe I'm just on the fucking crack pipe for this thought, but maybe YouTube will do even more to make the strike system a lot more strict and a lot more difficult to have things like this squeak through the cracks. So I'm hoping. I'm really on that fucking hopium right now. That's really about it. So yeah. There's a crazy clip from Pokimane's stream going viral right now that I really want to talk about, but it also made me want to speak on a story I've never told about an experience I've had that's somewhat similar to the one she describes here, at least in terms of creepiness. And, well, now I finally have a reason to get that baby off my chest here, so that's gonna be cathartic. Let's dive in.
Many, many years ago, when I was like super omega active on YouTube, and I was working with a lot of different editors. There was one editor in particular that I would work with a lot because his edits were really, really good, but he had one major problem, which was that sometimes out of nowhere, his videos would just be like a week or two late. Months go by, and he messages me out of the blue, and he says, "Hey, do you have time to talk? I'm ready to finally tell you why I've been struggling so much with deadlines."
In the history of the human race, I don't think there has ever been a good ending to the sentence, "Hey, do you have a minute to talk?" That always precedes the most vile shit you'll ever hear in your life. I can't even imagine a situation where you'd hear that sentence and think anything other than the most negative thing you'll ever hear is about to happen. Like, imagine you're in heaven and the Lord pulls you aside right in front of the pearly gates and he says, "Hey, you got a minute to talk?" Well, you immediately assume you're just going to hell. Like, there's just no world where that sentence ever precedes good news.
Tell me why he proceeds to tell me that the reason why he would sometimes turn around videos a week or two late is because he couldn't stop touching himself. I was trying to pick which word to use. To me, his, in a way, employer of many, many months.
Stop for a second and really let that stew in your noodle. Let it marinate for a bit. How Coomer-brained must you be not only to do this degenerate act of just fucking beating your meat to a streamer's gameplay footage that you're editing, but then tell her that the reason you're late on some of the edits is because you can't stop squeezing your hog to the footage that she sends you. There are so many layers to this onion here. Let's just start by picking apart the most obvious. Why? Now, I know in the most severe cases of porn addicts, they'll sometimes try and communicate directly to the porn star by, like, leaving comments or sending messages or whatever, and that's always the saddest shit you'll ever see. That'll bring a tear to even the strongest man's eyes. Occasionally you'll see those moments where dudes try and directly communicate to the porn star, leaving comments on their posts saying things like, "Can't wait to watch this one when I'm off work," or "When my wife goes to bed, that's when the bad boy will play. Thanks for providing me with tonight's entertainment," whatever. Like, just leaving these desperate posts, you know, cock in hand, giving a salute, like, "Thank you, madame, for your service. This will be a legendary gooning sesh." But even in those cases, they're communicating with someone they don't know. This guy was her editor for many months. And he was not only jerking off to the content he was being sent, which was just gameplay videos, I imagine, or like just chatting stream moments, nothing even sexual, and he was still choking the chicken to it, fucking playing the skin flute, and then had the gall to tell her that he was doing that is just incomprehensibly unhinged. She was his boss. She was employing him, so he basically went right through HR, bypassed that protocol, went straight to the top of the food chain, kicked in the door, and said, "Listen, boss, I'm fucking obliterating my wiener, and what are you gonna do about it? That's why I've been late on my deadlines." Like, I don't think he came in with that energy. I bet he was, like, super shy about it. He was probably like, "Oh, Pokimane, so I know I've been kind of late recently, but it's only because I was, ooh, how do you say, jerking off to your work."
when I tell you I've never halted a conversation so fast, because I'm like, you are the person that I send like hours of footage to. I don't want to know what you're jacking it to. I don't want to know more. I shouldn't even know how much I know right now. I shouldn't know.
I'd actually argue that it's better she did know this, no matter how awful it is, but that way she can get the fuck away from this weirdo ASAP. Just say, take a hike, Buster. This is fucking terrible.
But I felt so bad. So when he's like, you know, like, this is like an addiction of mine, I genuinely felt really, really bad. So I still paid him for months. What the hell do I do? Fire him? Am I even allowed to fire someone because they're...
That's definitely towards the top of the list for the best reasons to fire someone. That actually might be reason number one why you could go ahead and can somebody. Because they can't stop fucking beating their cock to you, their employer. And they're also not doing their job well by being 1 to 2 weeks late. Which, by the way, is a long time of just fucking gooning here. This degenerate would miss his deadlines by a week or even up to 2 weeks because he was obsessively polishing his scepter to his employer. You 100% can and should fire someone like this. It's not like the Better Business Bureau is going to defend him. You're not going to have agents show up at your door knocking and be like, hey, listen, we know what happened here. You discriminated against this kind, gentle sir. You fired him just because he was obsessively masturbating to you. Well, I'll have you know this is a free country, ma'am. This is a civilized society. You can't fire someone for that. There's no crime. What is the charge? Busting a nut? An immaculate, gooey nut? This is democracy manifest. Like that just wouldn't happen. But I actually understand why she was hesitant to do that. And this is where I'm going to get into a story I don't think I've ever told. I'm pretty sure I haven't. Where I had something somewhat similar happen a long time ago. Not to this level, but something closely related. So a while back, I used to just accept any voice acting role I was offered by any human being with a pulse on the planet. If they said they needed voice lines done, I would do them for free just because I really enjoyed doing it. It's actually how I met Jackson, and if you have ever watched the official podcast, you'll know that our X-Men origin story between Jackson and I's friendship is that Jackson actually scammed me through this process. He sent me an email asking if I'd be down to do voice work for his upcoming game, and then sent me like some in-game screenshots and promotional screenshots that were actually just Dark Souls images that he photoshopped to fit his game style that he tried to sell me on. And I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm definitely down to do voice work. And it turns out he never had that game, he just wanted to play games together, and we did, and ended up becoming extremely close friends, and now we make God Slap together. Like, he's been a friend of mine for almost a decade now. And it came from that. But there's definitely a dark side to that. The Sith Lords definitely did exploit that very stupid thing I used to do, just accepting any voice acting roles ever from anybody. So, I think this was after I had met Jackson and after we were friends. I can't quite remember the exact chronological timeline here, but I received a very interesting email from a very peculiar man that, under any other circumstances, probably would have triggered red flags in a sensible person's mind. But for me, I saw the word like voice acting opportunity and I was like, I'm in. Say no more. So I emailed him back saying that I was absolutely down to do this and when should we get to work on it. So we communicated back and forth a little bit and eventually set up a Skype call. Because this is when Skype was still popular. I think one of the best things that's happened in modern day is that Skype has died. That was legitimately just like fucking official malware. That was the worst program that ever saw success, and I am embarrassed that it ever got as popular as it did. But this was a different time and day back then. So we went in Skype and we had our first voice call a couple days after that initial email came through. And it wasn't like super weird. He conducted himself pretty professionally. He was trying to tell me about the game. I don't remember all the details around it. It was a game that never was going to happen, though. It was unbelievably ambitious. It was some kind of like MMO hack and slash with like a super deep branching plot lines, all made by him, the solo dev. He was just spamming every buzzword he could about this game, but again, it didn't matter to me because it was voice acting work, and I wanted to get the reps in. And so I just said, yeah, like, I'm super on board. Let's stay in contact. You can send me the script and whatever else you need. And that was kind of the end of our, like, introductory call. And man, did I open Pandora's box. Pretty much immediately after that call, he would start messaging me on Skype often. And it wasn't about the project all the time. Sometimes it was just about his day, which I would engage with. I'd be like, oh, it's really interesting to hear about how your day's been going. Thanks so much for sharing. And then he'd start tiptoeing into like some other small talk. It started to feel like he was interrogating me sometimes, where he'd be like, so what'd you do today? And I'd tell him, be like, oh, so like, you didn't really respond earlier. I thought you were just doing something really important, but you were just hanging out at home? That's kind of weird. Like, what? Are you sure that's all you're doing? I was like, brother, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm just not, like, always on Skype. He's like, oh, that's fine. He just didn't respond to me. And then he'd start gradually asking more and more questions, like questions you would ask someone on, like, the most awkward first date imaginable if you were some kind of Reddit mod. He'd be, like, asking me certain things, like, about anime and just, like, general interests and shit. And this is right before I had graduated college. I was still in college because I remember he was asking me about how my schooling was going. And I was like, yeah, I mean, it's going well. How's your project going? And he'd tell me some shit that I know wasn't happening. He's like, oh yeah, I got a lot of work done today on the game. I was in C#, really just fucking in my flow state. I took like the limitless pill, and man, I programmed fucking 15 trees, and I have 17 actors doing mocap for me, and they're all martial arts specialists, so the hack and slash animations are top notch. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. Do you have like that script or anything ready? He's like, oh, it's still being worked on. And then he just keep kicking that can down the road and change the topic of, like, but enough about the game. Tell me about exercise physiology. What's that like? It's like, brother, you're not my mom. Like, why are you checking in like this? I don't care. And we're not really, like, close or anything. So why would you get upset if I don't, like, respond to you in a timely enough fashion? Like, it was just a disaster. So this went on for, like, a few weeks of this kind of stuff happening every couple of days. And I was ready to just wash my hands of it and just say, all right, this voice work isn't worth, you know, I'm not getting the juice isn't worth the squeeze, as they say. So I kind of just started to let that peter out. I'd really very rarely respond to him, so he'd send me like a few messages over the course of like a week or two that I just would ignore. And then it got really bad. This guy was sending me like deep messages, and some of them just very unsettling. And then he eventually sent me a message talking about how he's about to end it all. And, you know, he doesn't expect me to respond since I haven't responded in so long, but he just wanted me to know how much our friendship meant to him and all that. And I fucking freaked out, immediately responded to that when I saw it, and then he once again just switched gears and was like talking about my day and his day and this and that, and once again, just going down this small talk and then, like, interrogating me, like, well, why haven't you been responding? So that I had to come up with a story like, oh, just haven't been checking Skype for the last few weeks, you know, just stuff going on. He's like, oh, okay, yeah, no, okay, yeah, I'm sure, and then getting upset and whatever. I recommended him getting, like, professional help, which he claimed he was doing and seeking, but it wasn't really working. The only thing that really helped him was our little chit-chats back and forth. So obviously, I kept that door open, and luckily, the frequency of his messages was much slower, so over the course of a few months now, the messages were far less often. So it wasn't that big of a deal, but it still just felt miserable to keep this communication open. It felt like a hostage situation where, like, if I didn't respond, he might do something, and it was scary. And as this continued for quite some time, he'd make threats occasionally of harming himself if I didn't respond in, like, a fucking speedrun fashion to one of his messages. When I got into a relationship, he sent a really creepy message about, like, well, is it serious? Why is it serious? What do you see in her? That kind of thing. Like, it was all really alarming shit. And I'm not going to keep boring you with details here, but similar to how Pokimane didn't immediately fire that guy because she, like, felt bad for him or was, like, a little afraid of what might happen or whatever, it's easy to take a step back when you're not involved in it and just be like, oh, this is what you should have done. But when you're actually in one of these, like, really weird fucking situations on, like, a personal level here, it's just a little harder to do that. So I do understand that, but again, definitely the right course was firing that guy. In my situation, eventually what I did was I just stopped responding. If he did send me one of those messages, I would reply just telling him he needs professional help, and I won't talk further about these kind of things with him because I am not a professional. I'm not equipped to deal with that or handle that or help him in any way. He needs real help. And that would be how I'd respond to those messages when he sent them, and he eventually stopped. But that went on for a long time. But yeah, anyway, just kind of wanted to talk about all this. That's about it. See ya. Right now, SSniperWolf is a lot like the aliens on the Buzz Lightyear ride at Disney World, just getting blasted. Every single corner of the internet is coming together to talk about the SSniperWolf situation and the doxing against a fellow YouTuber, Jax Films. From the surface to the shadowy underbelly of the internet, everyone is discussing it. YouTubers, Redditors. If Yahoo Answers still existed, there'd be 50 threads about this by now. I mean, it is everywhere. It's remarkable how big it's become. I'll give you the brief nutshell on it in case you don't know what I'm referring to, but I know you do. If you're watching this video right now on the internet, you are at least loosely familiar with who she is and what she just did, because she just broke one of the 10 commandments of being online. She took an internet dispute into the god-forsaken wasteland we call the corporeal dimension, the real world. Wake the fuck up, samurai. Usually internet beef is just served up medium rare online, but she served this beef medium dare you to commit a crime. Man, that shit was lame. But kind of like Dr. Seuss rhyming that one, actually, kind of fire. But what I'm saying is, what started is just Jax Films making fun of SSniperWolf for her content and pointing out that what she's doing is bad, escalated into her being so upset about it that she found his address, went to his address, posted it on her Instagram, not the address per se, but just posted his house on her Instagram, bragging about it, saying, you know, it's time we talk it out like adults. Which, of course, is the furthest thing from talking it out, unless, of course, you're an unhinged lunatic. This is just senseless yapping to try and justify what she did here. You can't do that. It's borderline criminal. So she posted it, 5 million of her Instagram followers to see, which, of course, made Jax Films and his wife feel very unsafe in their home. And since then, she hasn't said anything about it. I think it's only a matter of time before she makes an apology video. It's really just an if instead of, nope. The expression is, it's a matter of when instead of if. I think it's inevitable. The only thing that remains to be seen is where it's going to rank on the YouTuber apology tier list. So that's the only question I have left about that. But this is only the beginning of a really bad week for SSniperWolf. She's having a worse week than King Kong fans right now with the release of the worst fucking game of the year, Rise of Kong. She also had a lot of people digging through her catalog of content, and they found something very not good, very weird, let's say. I can't show you anything here because I think there is a chance that it's completely against YouTube's terms. It's her encouraging some seemingly underage individuals to do some degenerate acts on video, and the way she encouraged them was almost like a wager you'd see out of a bad Brazzers film. She wagered her tits, saying that if these underage-looking individuals did what she asked them to do, she'd show tits. This was a video back in like 2014. They do it, and then like one of the kids' moms walks in. It's like very fucking odd, awful shit. And this is just another, you know, alarming thing that SSniperWolf has in the backlog of her lore. As I was rendering this video, people found another seemingly illegal, potentially, piece of content that SSniperWolf has on her channel. In this video, she's talking to strangers on Omegle, and then she meets this girl who says that she's 16, and then agrees to show each other their boobs, and the 16-year-old flashes the camera, which SSniperWolf does censor, but that doesn't make it okay. I'm pretty sure that's still illegal. You can't just have an underage person being sexual on video and then just say, hey, wait a minute, Buster, it's fine because it's censored. It's like, what the fuck? And the video is still up right now. And in the whole clip, it's not like there was some, like, you know, just kidding, not actually 16, actually in my 20s. There was nothing like that. After that happens, SSniperWolf just said that, you know, she's fake like her or whatever, and then disconnects. So, it really seems like she just had a miner flash the camera on a YouTube video. It's fucking crazy. Now I'm going to go ahead and mention something I've seen a few comments talking about to explain what actually happened in this clip here, and I don't know if this is like the SSSniperWolf Defense Squadron operating under DEFCON protocol, so they're in full force trying to figure out any way of explaining this really awful shit, but I'm gonna go ahead and share this anyway just to be complete with the subject. There's some people saying that that wasn't actually a 16-year-old, it was a bot that was just spamming the chat, and SSniperWolf was like reacting to it, knowing it was a bot, knowing it wasn't an actual 16-year-old, and that the person, the girl in the video clip, was just a like cam model or something that's supposed to drive people to some kind of cam site. I don't know enough about Omegle to know if that's something that happens, but regardless, this is still an extremely concerning clip. But rest assured, SSniperWolf fans, there's still one person, rather one entity, still very much on the side of SSniperWolf, and that's YouTube. This is the update I want to give today. It wasn't so much just going over like where everything's at here, it's YouTube's response to all this, because it is so big, and doxing is, you know, it's borderline criminal, of course. What would YouTube's response be? They have cracked down on that kind of activity very hard in the past. So obviously, most people were expecting some kind of action to be taken. It's just wondering what. So far, they've only made like vague references to it or vaguely talked around it. There hasn't been any kind of statement from them about what they plan to do about this situation, aside from a couple of tidbits that they've talked about that seem to indicate that they're not going to do anything. But I don't think anything's 100% confirmed as like this is the path they're taking. But they have publicly made this tweet in the midst of all this. Would it be too meta to do a reaction video to a reaction video? Which is such a lame fucking ChatGPT generated tweet. That is like the most how do you do fellow kids shit ever, and comes at the worst possible time because SSniperWolf is a reactor to TikTok content and all that, so clearly this is very poorly timed, unless of course this is their way of like trying to show support for SSniperWolf, which it very well could be. They have made a lot of tweets about her, all very positive. In fact, this whole situation between Jax Films and SSniperWolf really started catching fire when YouTube themselves made a tweet saying, "Where does SSniperWolf get her ideas?" And then they also made another one talking about how like SSniperWolf is our turbo super creator of the year. Unbelievable. So just like these very, very positive, pumping their fist SSniperWolf fan tweets. This one, of course, got community noted. For additional context, it needs to be known that this tweet was written in the wake of a controversy regarding a reaction YouTuber, SSniperWolf, who recently leaked the personal information of a fellow creator on the platform, Jax Films, and then it cites one of the many sources. I almost can't help but be impressed and like appreciate how bold this tweet from YouTube is here, though. To just drop this shit. Would it be too meta to react to a reaction video? Oh, like, they know this is going on. Like, they have loosely acknowledged the situation in a couple of tweets. Like, they know this is happening because everyone on the internet knows that this is happening right now. This is the hottest shit there is. This shit is leaving the toilet bowl steaming, it's so hot. They can't be oblivious to it. But whatever ghoul is running this account must be really kept isolated in some kind of sensory deprivation tank, cut off from the rest of the world, and forced to just occasionally drop a bad tweet, because there is just some crazy disconnect here to think that this tweet was a good idea. Because I really don't believe that what they're trying to do with this is, you know, slyly, you know, hey, SSniperWolf's pretty fucking awesome, right? Like in the middle of this, I don't think they'd be that dumb. I don't think they'd be that stupid. I really think this is just like a poorly timed bad tweet from them. Of course, I have no evidence to corroborate that theory. It's just me here thumbing my ass, just speculating. It's at the end of the day, it's just a game theory. I just really don't believe that they would be so bold to just, in the middle of this, give like a big nod to SSniperWolf. The entire internet is waiting on bated breath to see what they're going to do. Jax Films is calling for like demonetization or like even deplatforming because of the severity of the rule breaking. A lot of other people are rallying behind those things as well. The bare minimum people are looking to see is some kind of punishment issued to SniperWolf here in order to, you know, prove to the community that YouTube isn't playing favorites when it comes to their most extreme rules. And I don't think that's an unreasonable request to just want to know, what are you going to do about it, YouTube? Because this is a big deal, and this is something that other creators in the past have gotten big trouble for. So why would SniperWolf get a pass on that? And if she does, can you explain why? Right? Like, there'd have to be a reason for it. I think the obvious reason would be she brings in so much money to the platform, and YouTube loves her so much that they wouldn't ever take action against her even if she went on camera and slit the throat of 5 puppies. But just communicate what you're going to do here. Like, I don't think this is a situation that would take a super long time for them to decide what they're going to do. So I'm kind of under the assumption that they're not going to do anything about it. They might make another more direct acknowledgement of it, but they'll probably just be a more slap on the wrist. But again, I'm just spitballing here based on YouTube's past, because there is favoritism on the platform, as there is on every other platform. YouTube's no exception there, and I think it's pretty clear that she's going to get some kind of special treatment when it comes to this rule breaking, which really sucks. And like, the damage is very much done to Jack's Films and his wife. As he mentioned, they don't really feel safe in their home anymore, which is totally understandable. She dumped a picture of their house for all of her 5 million followers to see. And on Instagram, I think the followers there are going to be a degree higher in terms of their support of SniperWolf than like her YouTube audience. Like, I think those are going to be where the super fans are, and they probably fucking hate Jack's Films, and now they have this. It makes sense why he'd feel unsafe. I mean, it's a pretty evil thing to do. And I wouldn't be surprised if she got even more diabolical with it and turned his house into like a Pokimane Go stop or something. Like, really just trying to put their location out there as best she could. And she did make another post that Jack's Films also made a tweet about, where she was poking fun at this situation lightly, saying like, we pull up to your house, what would you do? Which is so unbelievably tone deaf that she doesn't understand the severity of what she did. The whole situation is fucked. I just wanted to give a little update here because it's already been like 5 days. So that's where everything's at. I guess we'll continue to wait and see what YouTube will or will not do. And yeah, that's about it. So yeah. Is your tummy grumbling? Your stomach empty? I don't know if you've eaten yet, but I'm going to feed you regardless, so open wide because here comes the airplane. Surprise! We're feasting on a delicate cuisine of more SSSniperWolf Drama. A nutritious part of every complete meal. It's been 4 weeks since the doxing of Jack's Films, and since then I've made like 2 follow-ups because it's just been this snowball that's turned into an avalanche of dog shit that continues to develop. She's a Darman star, so to put it in Darman terminology so we're all on the same page, this is what happens in the dark coming to light. Before getting into the newest situation revolving around her, I'll just go ahead and give you a little follow-up to the previously on Dragon Ball Z developments. So it's been 3 weeks since the last time I talked about it. That was when she made an apology, which she misspells Jack's Films' name in multiple times, which showcases a clear lack of giving a fuck about it. And then also, it was when YouTube weighed in saying that they're going to temporarily suspend her monetization. They didn't specify the length of time, but I'll just go ahead and tell you it's been 3 weeks now, and she is still demonetized from everything I can see. Going in on incognito mode, turning off ad block, going in on mobile, there are no ads playing on her main channel videos. So it seems that they still are slapping her down there in the old piggy bank. And if I'm being honest, like a fork in an electrical outlet, I am shocked. I cannot believe that she's still demonetized. I thought for sure it would only last a week, maybe 2 weeks as things start to blow over, and then they just secretly flip that switch back on and monetize it. They haven't. It has been 3 weeks, and she is still not monetized. Now this does kind of lead into a subject people were talking about quite a bit a few weeks back, where SniperWolf found a way to circumvent this by uploading old content onto another one of her channels, which at the time was monetized. It was this channel, and from my understanding, it is no longer monetized. I also went on incognito mode, fucking full raw, no rubber, no ad block, anything at all, went on the channel, and there's still no ads. So it seems like that did get demonetized, if it ever was monetized in the first place, and this led to a whole new can of worms being opened about whether or not SniperWolf is ban evading, which violates another one of YouTube's policies, since she got demonetized on her main channel, and in order to keep making money off content, she posted it on another one. And of course, it is very interesting that the last upload there was 3 weeks, even though it was consistent up until that point, meaning probably when it got demonetized, she stopped doing it. So, personally, I'll weigh in on that quickly. I don't think that's ban evading by the actual terms of service with YouTube. Is it scummy? Absolutely. But she didn't get away with it. They did act quickly in demonetizing it, at least from what I can tell. So I don't think she's going to be, like, punished for that in any big way. They're just going to continue to keep her demonetized. Which, again, is a mind-boggling thing. I thought that was all just going to be a bunch of lip service, a bunch of hoo-ha nonsense from YouTube. Like, oh, yeah, no, we're taking real action. We're very serious about this. No more ads for 12 hours. But no, I mean, it has been a decent chunk of time. I mean, like, relatively speaking. I don't remember how long Logan Paul was demonetized for after the, Forest incident, but like it has been a lot longer than I thought they would do, and I really feel like it's not because they wanted to. They probably did fully plan on this being a very short punishment, like a very tiny slap on the wrist, but SniperWolf finds drama more often than bees find flowers to pollinate. Like, just like a fart in a car, she can't escape it. Like, she keeps falling into more and more controversy. So that brings us to the most recent thing that's happening right now, where she is being accused of basically stealing her whole format. So Nerd City made a video covering this and even interviewing the person that SniperWolf has been accused of copying from. Her name is Azzyland. I do think it's worth mentioning that Azzyland seems to want to just highlight SniperWolf's hypocrisy and history of being a hypocrite, less so accusing her of stealing her original works or anything. She's more so trying to focus on, like, how hypocritical it is that she would take some of the stances she does, even noticing all of what she's done, which gets brought up in the video, as well as a lot of other things that have surfaced from it. And this kind of blew up into a pretty big story because also prior to this, she was accused of faking her gameplay back when she was making gameplay videos, and that was a whole other huge pile of drama that I never even bothered to talk about because it was so many moving parts to it. I swear to God, to cover all the controversy she's been in would be a video longer than Zack Snyder's Justice League, and it'd be like a really complicated thing to even dive into the meat and potatoes of. You'd end up writing an entire book that's more difficult to decipher than the Silmarillion from Tolkien. Like, it is a lot. It's a ton. So I'm just going to focus on, like, the most recent ones here, but there is a whole history of it when it comes to, like, fake videos and videos that she's tried to bury in the past, which leads more people to believe Azzyland here that SniperWolf might have also just stolen from her too, because this wouldn't be the first time potentially. But anyway, let's get into it just a bit. Interestingly enough, and I hope you're sitting down because if you're standing up it's gonna knock you over, she's already responded to these claims, which is like 10 times faster than she responded to the Jax Films doxing situation, which just gives you a little peek into her psyche and how twisted she views things and what her priorities are, where compromising an entire family's safety, nothing, shouldn't even really warrant an apology whatsoever. Big old nothing burger with a side of french fries. Call the wambulance, you little baby. What are you crying about, huh? Get over it. She even went on to make jokes about it, like on her Instagram story. Her sister came out and said, like, does he not know how to fight? Like, so clearly she didn't take that seriously at all. But this, being accused of copying TikTok reacts, oh, it's go time. Now she's on the front lines ready for war in the trenches. So she posted a response to it. She quote tweeted this Dexerto article that says SniperWolf has been accused by fellow YouTuber Azzyland of copying her content, stealing her presenting style, inciting harassment from fans, and lying with fake evidence to cover her tracks. Just kind of going over the bare bones of what the accusations are, where they compare thumbnails, they compare the content itself, and even like some of the things they talk about during the reacts. And SniperWolf then says, I have a backup of videos and screenshots before she changed the thumbnails to make it look like I copied her. I have proof she copied my thumbnails, SEO, the way I speak, the jokes I make. The way you're trying to manipulate this is fraud. And you will be hearing from her lawyers, I'm sure. What an incredible case that would be. Oh, that would be a real page-turner to read that. To me, that sounds like a lawsuit that has all the makings of an iconic classic, like the Billy Mitchell lawsuit against Cartoon Network because an episode of the regular show made him look stupid. So I'm curious to see if she actually does try and go like a legal route here in this situation. She then continues saying, the fact that you can just go on a video and lie about everything is insane to me. And then she shows some side-by-side comparisons of their videos and thumbnails and titles to showcase the similarities and accuse her of actually being the nefarious villain that's copied SSniperWolf. She drops some more evidence from the case files here, saying I have a screenshot of you uploading the same video as me minutes after I upload multiple on occasions. And then the example she gives is SSniperWolf uploaded 22 minutes ago, creative people on another level, and Azzyland uploaded 12 minutes ago, so 10 minutes after that, with creative people who are on another level. A community note then came out of nowhere with a big steamin' revelation that said, this doesn't prove anything. The videos cited for evidence only have a similar title and don't contain the same thumbnail or clips, 1 and 2. Both Azzyland and SSniperWolf have created videos with almost the same title before, showcasing that this isn't exactly the slam dunk she thinks it is. It doesn't even use the same clips, only the title is the same, and there's other examples of similar titles being shared between them. At the end of the day, it's TikTok Reacts. It's like the simplest thing ever. There's probably like 10 other YouTubers that have this exact same format and style that may have even preceded them. It's something that tons and tons of YouTubers will just shit out. But I'm not here to really dive into the quality of the content. It's more so the claim and all of the evidence presented for it. And based on everything in the Nerd City video, as well as a couple of other things that have been revealed, it really does seem like SSniperWolf directly tried to copy from Azzyland in quite a few aspects, even outside of just like thumbnails and all of that. And at the very least drew huge inspiration from it, if I'm going to be extremely charitable and generous. There are a ton of similarities, an outrageous amount for it to just be a coincidence, in my opinion. But I guess I can't say for certain who stole from who here, because again, the content is something that so many others on the platform are constantly pumping out. But again, the evidence that is available does seem to indicate Azzyland was the victim of SSniperWolf stealing from her content, and then SSniperWolf kind of started a lot of bad blood between them because of it. Like, it seems like there were cases of her instigating fights and like trying to weaponize her fans to like say, you know, Azzyland's a doppelganger that's stealing from me, this and that, copying my homework and whatever. Yeah, that's just kind of the whole situation boiled down into its bare bones here, the bare necessities. And some people are wondering if YouTube's going to step in again and punish her further. I highly doubt it. But like I mentioned earlier, I think this is a contributing factor for why she's staying demonetized, because she keeps getting into situations like this, and YouTube knows if they flip on the monetization now, there's going to be a ton of eyes on it, and it's going to cause them problems as well. So they keep just, you know, gripping on tight and waiting for things to blow over before they turn her monetization back on. That's my little game theory, but again, to address that question, I really don't think YouTube's going to do anything here. I don't really even know if there is like a violation of a policy YouTube has if you're taking like content ideas from others and doing it yourself. Like, maybe it could fall under spam content potentially, which is something YouTube does take stances against occasionally, but even then I highly doubt they would use that against SSniperWolf. So I don't think there's going to be anything that comes from this on YouTube's side, but it's once again another huge hit to SSniperWolf's already tarnished reputation, and the drama just keeps unfolding around her. So yeah, I just wanted to give you a little update here on everything going on with that, and that's about it. So yeah. Alright, now I need to come in off the sidelines here, off the bench, in order to participate in a game of goofiness. The Logan Paul vs. Dylan Dennis situation has finally reached the bare minimum silliness threshold that summons me. So these two performed the ritual and made the proper silly sacrifice, and here I am. For those that don't know, Logan Paul is fighting Dillon Danis pretty soon, and in order to hype up their fight, they've been beefing with each other online. And usually this is very lame. In the influencer boxing space, this is all just very see-through marketing, formulaic garbage where two people who don't actually dislike each other pretend that they do in order for the bigger paycheck. So they start farming controversy and make really lazy attempts at it. Be like, hey, stupid face, can't wait to punch you and spit on you in the ring on this date, 'cause I hate you. You're tacky and I hate you. Like, that's usually the level of this controversy, the drama beforehand to try and make it like a grudge match or bad blood. It's very uninteresting. Makes me go yawn. That's a snooze fest. This time around with Logan Paul and Dillon Danis, though, it's been a bit different. This is a circus show fight between two clowns that the internet has laughed at and disliked for years. They're both scammers, by the way. I want to make this clear up front and center since most people seem to have forgotten that Dillon Danis is also a notorious scammer. So there's a whole video from CoffeeZilla on this about how he's more than willing to just exploit all of his fans for money off of knowingly promoting fraudulent products. And of course, Logan Paul is notorious for scamming his fans as well through CryptoZoo, of which he still has refused to refund their money, even though he said he would do that many, many months ago. This is a core component of what I want to talk about today, because Dillon Danis has been able to wipe some of that clown makeup off in the court of public opinion. He's got a lot of new fans as a result of all of this, because he employed an innovative new strategy for shit-talking. He's been posting pictures of Logan Paul's fiancé with other men, and then he'll have captions with it like, it's a picture of a Renaissance painting, and he's like, hey Logan, is that your wife over there with another guy? She's a time-traveling succubus. Your wife went back to the 14th century just to fuck this other man to get away from you. Like, and people are eating it up. People are going crazy for it. He's gained like 400,000 followers over the last couple weeks, hundreds of millions of impressions. And like a phoenix rising from the ashes of his dead joke of a career, he was reborn. Dillon Danis found salvation. In the wise words of Qui-Gon Jinn, there's always a bigger shit. And Danis found it with Logan Paul. He found a bigger piece of shit than himself. He couldn't have made a better wish if he had fairy godparents. This was an unbelievable blessing that fell in his lap, because everybody hates Logan Paul. So the community wanted to rally behind Dillon Danis, who was hopping in the kitchen and fucking cooking him. He was serving up beef, and the entire internet was consuming that meat more aggressively than Luffy in One Piece. And they were loving it. So now, his whole public image has been saved thanks to Logan Paul being just the easiest punching bag ever. And not many people knew who Dillon Danis was before this, unless you were already deep in the fighting community, and in that case, you were probably already in on the joke, because apparently he wasn't well liked in the space. I guess he had a reputation of ducking fights, and then even if he'd take them, he'd lose. So, like, most people just didn't even know anything about him. They just saw him posting all these pictures with his fiancé with other men and dunking on him, and Logan Paul just rolling over, belly up, just taking all of it. He hasn't even tried shit-talking back at all. He's just been reduced to this personal urinal cake for Dillon Danis to piss on. Like, it's not even a competition. Like, he's not even engaging in any of the trolling. So Dillon Danis has just won over the entire community's support against Logan. Which brings us to today, where they had their big press conference, where always these things are drummed up and fake in order to, again, get more hype and sell more tickets. But Dillon Danis is very good at getting under people's skin, so it really feels like he's crawled under Logan Paul and he's using him like a fucking fleshlight from the inside out. So he showed up to this event wearing this. Obviously a reference to Logan Paul's infamous Suicide Forest video. Still, to date, one of the most deplorable videos a big content creator has ever proudly posted online, where he filmed and mocked a dead body in a Japanese suicide forest. And the press conference really goes how you expect. Logan Paul eventually throws a piece of cake at Dillon Danis, and he's like, oh, Buster, now you crossed the line. Why, I'll come over there and beat the devil out of you. You know, it's nothing we haven't seen a million times before, all completely fucking manufactured. So that's not exactly what I want to mention next. It's just the same standard formula you've seen at these press conferences. Tables get flipped, everyone's heated, but everyone's getting held back. You gotta wait for the fight, buy your tickets very quickly so you can see all this pent-up aggression unleashed in the ring. Quickly, this is authentic. You know, that kind of shit. But there was something that was said that I had to laugh very hard at. I can't play the clip because I don't want to risk DMCA, so I'll just paint a picture with words here and describe it. Logan Paul brings up a bet that he proposed where he'd wager $1 million that he will suck the fart out of Dillon Danis's ass. It's not even going to be a real fight. Logan Paul will beat him, but not only beat him, he will annihilate him, de-atomize him. He will clobber Dillon, and he's so confident he'll put $1 million on it right now. And a lot of people pointed out that this is a really weird bet for him to make, considering Logan Paul still has a debt that hasn't been paid to his community that he scammed with CryptoZoo. He made a promise to his community that he'd pay back about $1.5 million and some change to all of the victims of his scam, and he still hasn't. Yet here he is, proudly puffing his chest up and saying that he'll wager $1 million on this fight? Bozo, why don't you take care of the victims of your scam that put their trust in you with their money, put their faith in you, and lost so much? Why don't you finally fulfill your promise and just pay them back instead of wager the $1 million on this? And during the press conference, Dillon Danis goes there. Miss Frizzle opened up the doors to the school bus and invited Dillon Danis on, and they took a trip right to confronting Logan Paul to his face about it. And he said, "Why don't you pay back the victims of CryptoZoo instead?" And I shit you not, Logan Paul's response is, "I'm working on it." No, you're not. You have so many millions upon millions of dollars. You could have paid this back 50 times over by now, but you haven't. You just keep dangling this carrot in front of their starving, salivating faces where they're still praying that they can finally get their money back because you promised you would give it back. You would pay them back. And you just keep that there, just out of reach, knowing full well that you'll probably never actually pay it back. You keep praying for a time where people will just forget and move on, but it's not coming. And what made me laugh is that it's Dillon Danis that said it because he's obviously a scammer too. So it was a scammer calling out another scammer's scam. Dillon Danis has exploited his community so many times, knowingly scamming them because he's making money off of it. And yet here he is trying to hop on his high horse like, how dare you? I can't... You scammed your community. You remember that, Logan? I would never. I could never even imagine. It'd be like if Chris Brown made a statement on not beating women. Like, Dillon is absolutely right. Why not just finally refund your victims of CryptoZoo like you've promised many months ago? But it's coming from Dillon Danis, who is also a scammer that has not refunded any of the victims and just outright tells them to eat shit for it. What reality are we living in right now? It's a fucking beautiful disaster. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about this real quick because I watched the press conference and that part I just couldn't help but laugh pretty hard at. So yeah, that's really about it. So yeah. We live in a clown world where people will do whatever it takes to feel special for just a moment. Everyone's so hungry for clout, more important than oxygen to some people, and they'll make a fool of themselves on TikTok and pretty much anywhere online. I mention this streamer a lot, but there was a streamer that used to finger his butthole for $20. There was that guy we recently talked about who threw himself in front of a train to stop it as part of like a TikTok challenge and then got 3 years in jail for it. It's really not easy to stand out from the crowd these days. It's pretty cutthroat. You either eat ass or you get your ass eaten. And today, I want to show you what it looks like when your ass gets eaten.
I quit my job. No.
Wait,
it's a story.
I'm interested.
It's a story. I just talked to Logan Paul. I mean, like, he was just being nice, and I get it. Media, whatever, he has to be nice.
Dude's looking like he rubbed 5 raw onions in his eyes right now. Also, this is a really inefficient way of, like, wiping snot from your nose. It just looks like you're sniffing your finger after putting it up your butthole.
Before I approached him, he was bragging about making $3 million. I make $100,000 a year. I'm 22. I do make $100,000. That's cool. And I want to act. I want to do these things. I'm having a breakdown right now.
Yeah, this whole thing comes across as like a shitty YouTuber apology, but while bragging somehow. He comes in pretty hot with the condom off by immediately dropping how much he makes in a year, which seems kind of irrelevant, like he's belittling 100 grand by comparing it to Logan Paul's 3 mil, even though 100 grand in a year is an extreme amount of money, more than most people will see in their entire fucking life. So it's hard to really feel sympathy for him in that moment. And the way he like conveyed it, like I make $100,000 a year, I'm 22 years old, it makes it seem like an advertisement. I thought he was about to transition into trying to sell me on something like a guru self-help book or something. Like turn around and start talking about some kind of pyramid scheme or like an NFT he invested in and how he got rich. It just really like seems so fucking goofy.
Oh, I'm sitting in the cast. I don't even know what to do. Just watch the clip, okay?
The sneaking thing?
No, I didn't. I quit my job. No,
Wait,
it's a story.
I'm interested.
It's a story. I quit my job legit 2 days ago. I came up here, took a risk. I'm originally from Ohio.
Did you sneak up here?
No, I didn't sneak in here. I didn't sneak. What do you mean sneak up?
Like
here?
on stage? Or you just like?
Yes, I did.
I cut out a lot of his crying just to get into the clip where you can see what brought about this meltdown here. So he snuck onto stage during the Jake Paul fight, I believe, and was trying to get a job from Logan Paul, which is obviously a stupid idea. You have to be a real goofy goober to think that that's ever going to work. But I know a lot of people have this fantasy because they've watched anime one time and they see the protagonist never gives up and then he eventually gets the girl and becomes the hero. So then they try and adopt that persona where like, I'll never give up and I'll accomplish everything. But they do it in the wrong way like this guy. So he just approaches Logan, total stranger, and he just starts going over his resume. And Logan, like, immediately calls it out, too, by saying, like, hey, you definitely snuck in here, right? And he's like, no, 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 no. But yes.
It's one of the sneak videos.
Sorry,
Did you print the ticket and stuff?
No, like, I just needed to talk to you. I'm trying to talk to your brother. I'm trying to talk about business, trying to talk about trying to get a job. Like, I want to do media. I've been trying to get...
What are you good at?
I was 7 dances. I did like
What's
that.
Your TikTok
I did that video, you know, like going like that. Yeah, you know.
Oh, so you really got what it takes.
I don't.
Then why would I
need
give
a
you
mentor.
job?
He's also extremely bad at making a case for himself. So a lot of times, like, for example, when Elon Musk was doing his open conference and taking questions from the crowd, and that guy approached him saying, like, I'm a super genius and you need to hire me for your board of directors because I'm so fucking smart. And if you don't, you're going to regret it. In fact, I might even be CEO of Tesla pretty soon, so you should hire me. At least he was, like, confident in himself in the way that he, like, carried it. This guy's like, hey, I want a job, but I'm also not good at anything. Like, Logan even, like, threw him a bone. He's like, oh, so you definitely have what it takes. And like, no, I fucking suck. Like, if you're gonna commit this hard, at least just lie about being cool or something. Yeah, I used to work for the CIA, but had to be retired after racking up too many kills. Or, I was the stunt double for Andre the Giant and Princess Story, and now I'm just looking to get back in the business. But this guy, he doesn't even bother trying to sound like he's qualified for any position. The only thing he can muster is, I did a TikTok dance once, and I did it shitty. Like, come on, man. Like, what do you expect Logan Paul to do? Like, hear that and be like, oh, welcome aboard. Fucking fist bump him. Well, I want to say, Logan Paul looks really good here. He comes across as like a really understanding, nice guy. Even gives him some good advice to go off of. So, if this was like a marketing strategy from Logan's team, they fucking crushed it here. Because Logan really comes across great. But I actually think this was a genuine interaction with a guy who needs some help.
Well, why would I do that?
I want to be like... I'm 22 years old. I'm just trying.
I bet I can't be a mentor right now, right? In my life, I'm a fuck up myself. I need a mentor. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need
connections and you need people be around you, right?
No, I didn't have connections and people around. I have Jake. That's it. Do you have a brother? Do you have people? Friends?
I don't.
Friends? You got friends. You got amigos.
I don't.
You don't have friends?
I don't. I swear to God. I'm here by myself.
Where are you from?
I find it extremely hard to believe when someone says they have no friends, because that's pretty much impossible these days. Everyone has friends. No matter how much of a fuck up you are or how outrageous the things you believe are, you will always have people that are on your side. So I really think a lot of what he says in this video is lying in order to garner sympathy from Logan, thinking that it would help him land a job, which obviously never works. It's like that same strategy nice guys use to try and make a girl fall for them, where they just be as pathetic as they can. Like, they'll be whining and crying in front of the girl they like, oh, no one likes me, my dog won't even look at me, my dog took a shit on the floor because they were so disgusted with me, God, no one's ever gonna love me, except maybe you, can you show me your titties, you know? That really weird thing that the nice guys will do to make the girl, like, feel bad for them, bad enough to, like, date them, that's the impression I get from this guy and the way he approaches the situation. Because then he goes in to talk about how he quit his job in order to come here and try and get this from Logan Paul. Dude apparently just quit a $100,000 a year job at 22 years old. It's either the dumbest decision of all time or a lie. I cannot imagine anyone would be that reckless. There's nothing wrong with following your dreams, but to quit your job and throw away everything in order to pursue them is the wrong way of doing it. You need to approach your dreams in a reasonable, rational manner. I know everyone has this like glorified fantasy that they'll read about online about how like the billionaire quit his job, sold his house, lived out of a box, drank piss for 1,000 years before he finally hit it big and it was all worth it. But that's just not likely to happen to you. There is no reason to quit your job to pursue your passion. You should pursue it while also making sure you are taken care of as well.
I'm from Norwalk, Ohio.
You're a good-looking guy, bro. You have friends, bro. You're fucking lying. You have friends. Go make content, do stuff with your friends. I'm glad you quit your job. It takes balls to do that, bro. But like now you gotta act.
Try to make a step.
I'm not. Media. But I'm not the guy directly. Right?
You're the guy.
No,
you're the guy.
No, bro. My team is this. Relax, bro. Relax. I'm not the guy. Like you know, life isn't about handouts. You know what I'm saying?
I know. I'm not trying to get a handout. I'm not trying to get.
What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to work hard for a little money. No money.
That's the very definition of a handout. You have approached him completely out of the blue, unprovoked, told him a sob story, and are hoping to get a job out of it. That is a handout. Even if he gave you an unpaid internship position, that is him being nice to you because you made him feel bad.
I don't know. I can get a job somewhere else. All I want to move to LA, and I want to be able to be part of it.
Look, I have to go. If you really are serious about it, bro, you should move to LA and just like you approached me, start making connections with every single person in LA. I'm serious. That's it. I've always said this. If you're charismatic and you can talk to someone, you can make it in LA.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's my advice, man.
Unironically, Logan Paul comes across incredible throughout this entire interaction. While I don't necessarily agree with the advice of moving to LA, he's not wrong either. If that guy does want to pursue this seriously, he would need to consider going to LA and just trying to network, I suppose. I think LA fucking sucks. It's my least favorite place on the planet, probably. But it's also not horrible advice to give this guy either. Unfortunately, though, it doesn't seem like he actually took the advice to heart or anything because he starts crying in his car about the interaction, so he was apparently not pleased with the result. He really went in there with that sense of entitlement, like, I deserve this job and I'm going to get it. Again, I think that falls into that like, I don't even know what to call it, that mindset that some people have where they are the center of the universe and everything needs to happen the way they have it in their head. This guy had a very high-paying job, probably had a big ego, and thought, you know what, I want to get into acting, I want to get into YouTubing, and I'm going to make Logan Paul take me there because I deserve it. And it didn't happen, so he started crying and having a little whining festival in his car. Hopefully he'll learn from it, but I checked his TikTok after this, and he's just really embracing it, so he has a shirt that says, "Can I have a job, Logan?" now, and it looks like he's really riding that wave. He's been, like, remixing this video as well, because this got big on TikTok for obvious reasons. There's not a lot of people showing support to this idea of quitting your job to do something like this, which is great. It's good to see that. But I know there still are people that believe like this is the way things are done. Like you have to quit everything in order to pursue your dreams, and that's just not right. And Logan Paul, I think, really does convey a strong message to this guy like, look, man, you're lying about not having friends. You have friends. Why don't you do stuff with your friends first? Take baby steps into it, then maybe move to LA and start networking. I think that's pretty reasonable, and I think this video might even serve as a good lesson for other people out there that in their head thought something like this would go over well. Well, in reality, it doesn't. That's about it. See ya. I've been asked constantly over the last 2 or 3 weeks why I haven't talked about the Pokimane Drama online, and people are starting to get some fucking conspiracy theories cooked up about it. So I decided before these start spiraling out of control and I start being accused of working with Bill Gates to microchip the American people, I'd just come out here, drop my pants, and show you what I'm all about with this situation. So the reason I haven't talked about all the Pokimane drama is just because I found it really boring. I found it all very uninteresting. The fucked up things she did with the sponsors and a couple of the other things she had already addressed in the past and made apologies for and hasn't done it since. It was really just all old news. The only other thing that was being talked about was Pokimane potentially having a boyfriend, which could have been an exciting bombshell to drop if there was any level of proof to it. It was just this fleeting wet queef of a statement, just totally blank. It's like that cancel culture shit or Facebook fucking posts about why coronavirus isn't real. just something said with nothing to back it up. But Leafy fans insisted that tier 3 subs were having this kind of fucking biblical meltdown on Twitter, and I was like, well, that sounds exciting. Let me go ahead and check that out. That at least sounds entertaining. But I couldn't find shit. It just didn't happen. I even went full-on fucking CSI detective and looked at tier 3 subs to Pokimane, found their Twitter, and wanted to see what they were saying about it, and none of them gave a shit. They just didn't fucking care. I couldn't find any actual meltdowns at all. All I found were Leafy fans talking about these meltdowns and just screaming the word simp, just shouting it at nothing and no one into the void. I mean, and the word simp has just been beat to death by children. Kids use that word until it was fucking run dry. Everyone and everything is a simp. If a waiter serves a woman at a restaurant, he's a fucking simp to these kids. If a woman drinks from a water fountain, the water fountain is a simp. It's just fucking overused to all hell and back, which is a shame because it was kind of enjoyable when the meme was alive and well. But I'm getting off topic. The point is, I couldn't find any of these meltdowns, and that's what would have at least made it somewhat enjoyable. But as far as I can see, all of that was just made up. Now, I also get asked what's my opinion on Leafy milking the whole thing, because he's made 9 videos about it. Well, I don't really care. I don't give much of a shit about that. I will say, though, if you take just the thumbnails and the video titles from all 9 of the videos Leafy made about Pokimane, it looks like something straight out of an incel school shooter's manifesto. But I don't really give a fuck that he's made 9 videos about it. He's not a fucking idiot. He understands that his audience leans more on the younger teen side of things, and what do young teenagers like? To be mad. And Leafy gives them targets and makes it fun for them to be mad at people. It's not the worst thing in the world, and he's very open with his audience about it. He says right to their fucking snot-nosed faces, look, I am milking this for views. He said that in at least 3 of the videos I've watched about it. So he's very upfront about it, and I don't think there's really anything wrong with that grind that he's going for. You think Leafy actually gives a fuck about the Pokimane situation? Not at all. He's very upfront about why he's even making the content in the first place. He's very open with his audience about it, and most of the content isn't even really focused on Pokimane anymore. It's mainly just using her for clickbait so he could talk about whatever he wants to talk about. And I totally understand that, because a lot of the shit I make is just talking about things I want to talk about. So I don't really have anything against him for the Pokimane milking situation. Now, I do think spending 5 minutes dedicated to just calling Pokimane ugly is some garbage, just shitting on her appearance for a while. That's just some low shit, treating it like an Xbox Live lobby or just some bad high school gossip. And I don't like the kids pretending that calling someone ugly is somehow valid criticism or even criticism in the slightest. It's just being a douchebag. And I've totally insulted people's appearances before, absolutely. I've taken fat shits on how some people look. But when I'm doing that, they're usually pedophiles or actual evil people in the world that have done really fucked up things. It's not just a streamer who makes streams I don't like. It's usually people that I think deserve insults to their appearance and much worse. Now, what really made me want to talk about this whole Pokimane situation is the fact that she uploaded an apology video today, and I can promise you no one's happier about that apology video than Leafy, because now he can make another 9 videos out of the situation and sell some more merch. And again, like I said, I have nothing but respect for that grind, so I mean, good for him, he's got more content now. But the fact Pokimane made this video makes no sense to me. This is just not a good idea. It's the internet. If you're in a situation, some drama, if you apologize, you're fucked. If you don't apologize, you're fucked. Kids are never satisfied. They just want to stay mad. So no matter what you do, it's going to be fuel for them to stay mad at you, no matter what. It's the most basic lesson on the internet. The majority of the stuff in the video she's already addressed and apologized for in the past. It just makes no sense to do it again. It's just redundant, but now she has to do it in front of the whole classroom or something, or at least that's what she thought she needed to do. I think she had the right approach the first time where she tweeted, "No more Mr. Nice Pokimane," or something to that effect, insinuating that she's coming out raw and no rubber. She's going brute force and just going to be really fucking brutal about things. That, I think, was the right approach to the situation, not just folding and rolling over in this apology. It just really doesn't make any sense, and you can see it in the dislikes on the video. People are still mad just to stay mad about things. And if you read the comments, none of them even watch the video. Every single comment just either screams simp or she has to apologize for having a boyfriend lol. When the video, she doesn't even talk about that. All she mentions with the boyfriend thing is that she keeps her personal life off the internet, which is totally respectable and the sane thing to do. Having your relationship and personal life online is a fucking disaster, because people live through internet creators. People spend their entire lives being a professional fan and obsessed loser over internet content creators. So keeping your personal life away from that toxic shit is the right move. But no one even watched the fucking video. They just disliked it immediately, assuming it's about the boyfriend thing. The video doesn't even need to be made because everything that she actually did make mistakes on, she has already owned up to in the past. It's just a video that doesn't really serve much of a purpose other than to, again, remind people that she is sorry. But it's not like a content creator needs to be held to some godlike status where they need to apologize profusely every single fucking day and grovel at the feet of the internet mob, kissing it and apologizing daily. It's not that big of a fucking deal. She apologized for the mistakes multiple times and now does it again. But it's never going to be enough. It's just no point in making this apology video. Just move on from it is the best approach. It's the fucking internet. People forget in a matter of hours. People can't even remember what they read 30 minutes ago on the internet because they're consuming so much shit and being mad so long that they forget half of the shit they're even looking at. So yeah, I just don't really like to see people bend over for the internet mob, and I just didn't think there was any reason to make an apology video on it in the first place. Unless she feels just super remorseful for the mistakes, then that's something totally different. But I think this is just because she was tired of all the drama and thought apologizing again might help. And maybe it will. Who knows? But yeah, anyway, I think the commentary community owes Leafy a huge thank you for the last month of content they were able to squeak out. I mean, these commentary channels were making like 5 videos on the whole Pokimane situation, parroting Leafy's videos. Every time he'd make one, they'd make one. So Leafy was able to spread out a lot of views by starting all of this, so it was a great thing for a lot of commentary channels. Congrats to all of them. Just overall, I found the whole drama arc to just be extremely boring as a spectator sport. Also, one more thing that came as a result of all of this, the whole React content debate. Now, I do a lot of reaction shit, but I'm never just silently watching a video with my thumb up my ass. I'm constantly making jokes about the content we're watching and joking with the chat about it. I like to treat it like a bunch of friends getting together to make fun of The Room. Now, I don't think by default watching content on Twitch is transformative. I think there needs to be a level of effort put into it to make jokes about it, pause it to talk about it, or just generally do something more than just sit there silently and watch it. I just don't think eating during an entire video and not contributing to a conversation about the video or joking about the video is transformative. But it's also not the worst thing in the world because there are people that just want to sit back and watch a video they wouldn't have watched otherwise with somebody that they like to watch on stream. The problem arises for me is when it gets taken and re-uploaded on YouTube. There's a couple of streamers that do React content where they'll upload the reaction, but the reaction is just them sitting there with the video playing. So it's basically just re-uploading the fucking video that they were watching, where they don't talk about it, they don't really add anything to it, and it's just the video playing with their face there. And unfortunately, that's what a lot of people think of when they hear React content on Twitch. It's also very easy to make it seem like people that watch content on Twitch don't react to it or joke about it by just taking some clips out of context and saying, look at this, they're not even saying anything, they're just stealing content from YouTube for their own personal gain. But I don't think that's the case for the majority of people that watch react to content on Twitch. And when I upload highlights reacting to content, it's only the bits and pieces where I'm making jokes about the content. And it very rarely runs more than 10 seconds without me making some kind of fucking joke about whatever's going on, or the chat and I joking about something going on. So as far as React debate goes, I definitely think there is a level of effort that needs to be put into watching content to make it transformative as opposed to just playing it and sitting there. So yeah, I think that pretty much sums up everything that has come out of the Pokimane situation and my thoughts on all of it. So hopefully I can stop getting asked so many times what the fuck I think about the whole thing. Because again, I just really didn't find this whole drama arc here to be that interesting. So yeah, that's about it. See ya.